Hello from the Big South Network studio. I'm Mark Bryant, and this is our season preview series for the 2024-25 basketball season. Very happy to have with me right now head coach of the Longwood Lancers men's team, Griff Aldrich. Year 7 for Griff Aldrich. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Let's talk about the really good news from the past here. You're defending champion. You're coming off of 2 championships in 3 years, in fact. How different was last year's title run compared to the one before?
Well, I think it was very different. You know, a couple of years ago, I guess in 22, it was Longwood's first time. And so that was obviously very special and historic in its own right. And then this past season, this past season was really special because of the people on last year's team. And just to see them kind of develop and grow and then really ultimately blossom into a formidable team at the end of the year. And just to see Waylon Napper, who had really grown during his time at Longwood, it was just a highlight to see him just shine on a big stage.
Well, championships are forever, so there's a before and an after here. So now that you've got a couple under your belt, what does that do to expectations and incorporating that into what is a brand new season starting at 0-0?
Well, I think, you know, in college athletics these days, you know, we have 6 new players, 9 if you count non-scholarship players as well. And so in college athletics, it seems like the rosters are being jumbled more than they ever have before. So at one level, the history is not as embedded as it would be if you had a lot of continuity. But at the same time, those newcomers are all coming to Longwood with the expectation that they'll compete for a championship. And so there is an expectation, I think, both within the locker room and then, you know, on campus and in the community, that we would, you know, that we'll be a competitive bunch and hopefully vie with the best of the conference to win a 3rd title.
So let's jump into the year ahead. What's the early evaluation of preseason practice? How's it going right now?
I really like our team. I like our talent. We've got a lot of diversity of skill set. And the blend of old and new is a really good mix. So from a talent perspective, I really like that. The challenge, of course, is trying to quickly blend the new guys into a culture that we've tried to establish at Longwood and teaching them our ways, our standards, our expectations. And so we've had some really great weeks. We've had some up and down weeks. You know, I think this team probably is going to be a team that kind of matures over the course of the year. And but I think probably the ceiling for this group is probably as high as any team that we've had at Longwood, at least during my tenure.
You talked about blending the old and the new. So let's break that down. Let's talk about the returning players first. Who you've got that you're looking for leadership and what you're really expecting role-wise.
Well, Michael Christmas, you know, you got to start with him, preseason all-conference player. Really blessed that he chose to come back. You know, he had opportunities, obviously, to move on. He graduated actually with his MBA and is now doing a second certificate in our MBA program. But Michael knows the system. He's a really good scorer in a lot of different ways. So we're really expecting him to play a key role for us, both offensively and defensively, rebounding, scoring, and kind of showing the new guys, hey, this is how we do things at Longwood. Along with that, Elijah Tucker is back, 6'8". He's put on some good weight, probably 235 pounds now. Came to us at 220, is now 235. An elite athlete, and is really starting to blossom and has expanded his game. And so I'm expecting to see more production from him. He started probably the last 10 games for us of the season. And then also Emmanuel Richards, who is an all-freshman team player, and having him take another step. Guys who go from freshman to sophomore year, they have a real chance to kind of blossom, and I'm expecting Emmanuel to do the same thing.
So there's the foundation. Then you bring in the new, and particularly transfers, of course, always a factor these days. What have you got coming in?
Yeah, we've got quite a few transfers that I'm really excited about. At the guard position, we have really 3 playmaking ball guards with Colby Garland, Angelo Brizzi, and Kyrell Luke. Colby from Drake is a really shifty point guard who will be a great playmaking guard for us. Kyrell Luke is more of a pure point guard, something we haven't had in a while. In the past, we've had really scoring guards who played point, but Kyrell's more of a pure point guard. And then Angelo Brizzi as well, who's really a dynamic kind of do-it-all guard who can play the point, play off the ball. And so I'm really excited about that group. And then on the wing, or in the other guard spot, you've got KJ McClurg and DJ Jefferson. KJ was a D2 All-American. And is just a gritty West Virginia kid who really came in embodying much of the values and culture that we love at Longwood. And then DJ is just an incredibly talented player who is learning the discipline and the structure of Longwood basketball. And once he figures it out, and I think he will, he's going to be a special player.
Right, so we know the pieces of the puzzle. Let's talk about actually putting them in place. What does the non-conference schedule look like for this season, particularly who's coming to Farmville, plus the bonus of the Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands?
Well, it's a really exciting. I think one of the you talk about expectations. That's probably been the biggest change for us in my time at Longwood is the challenges around scheduling and trying to get people to come to Farmville has been really hard. We do have the back end of a home and home series with Milwaukee, who will be one of the top teams in the Horizon League and one of the better mid-major programs in the country. And so that'll be a really fun test early in the season, November 13th. And then we head to Paradise Jam, and that is headlined by UAB and Kansas State, teams like that. And so that will be a great test for us, 3 days of really high-level basketball. And we'll get to test our mettle against the best in the nation, and so that'll be a real challenge.
Thank you, Coach. We wish you and all the Lancers the best of luck this season, and we thank you for watching another edition of our season preview for the 2024-25 basketball season.